Live. Hello. Is that better?
Welcome, America. We're live with the Waxed, and we're still setting up our lighting and sound. We've got a road crew going crazy trying to hook up the sound quality and the video, but we're live from where you hailing from today? Santa Monica?
Santa Monica, California.
We got two guys here from the Los Angeles area. I'm in a different part, an undisclosed location in Los Angeles, what they call a valley, and we have the Waxed. Do we refer to you as the Waxed? There's no other name. You're like
your little
thing.
thumbnail. You called me out that my name's Rob.
You did call yourself Rob in one of your early videos. I don't know if you were trying to drop that. Welcome, everybody. We're live on the internet, and if you're not watching us live, which is most of you, you'll be able to watch us later at any time you want to. So since Rob from the Waxed started a recent vinyl channel, and I liked his channel, and I had nothing else to do, I thought I'd bring him on. The very first video I watched of yours, 2 or 3 things that struck me. You showed a John Scofield album.
Oh, it's warped.
You only have one, or that one is warped?
I have one, and it is warped. And
that's a shame.
Well, I love how one thing we can go into is the dilemma of the VC, which I'm a master of absurdities, and I have a very deadpan kind of delivery, I suppose. I hope the humor comes through because that's my motivation behind starting the channel. So
you answered 2 of my questions already. We're only 30 seconds into this thing.
I can read your mind.
What could possibly possess somebody to start a video channel about vinyl records? That's one question that I actually wrote down. You can elaborate on that if you want.
Let me read my prepared statement.
Please do.
No, I'm joking.
You've got the nice booklet too. All I have is cards like Johnny Carson.
I am a humorous person. I think I'm hysterical. A lot of people think I'm funny, and I'm very fast on my feet.
I'm laughing.
I always was looking for an avenue to express that. I have several hobbies, and although I bought vinyl throughout my life, like everyone else during the shutdown, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, I got into it more, and I got into specifically populating my jazz collection, and that's primarily I'm trying to make sure that my head's straight. I always feel like I'll just talk to the wall. So I wouldn't go mentally insane with buying everything that came out in my whim. I'm focused on the jazz. If a grail or something I love pops out in front of me, I will buy it. I have, but that's sort of, so I liked how the vinyl community embraces people. I like how they, other than trolls, don't really call you out for your, I haven't, I'm very good at trolling people and comebacks. I'm fast on my feet, but I just liked, it felt like it was a good segue. I'm sort of a good cocktail party guest, so I know a little bit about a lot of things.
He's got a lot of accolades that he's giving himself already.
Yeah.
I'm fast on his feet.
I have this big giant hand that I like to pat myself on the back with.
Cocktail party guest. Do you do?
I call myself a social person who hates people. I hate people.
See that? I'm one of the few people who would rather talk in front of people than actually have to deal with people one-on-one. There's so many things I jotted down here that I can't really read any writing.
I interrupted you, so finish your thought. You watched my video.
I watched your video, and I noticed your sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you showed a John Scofield record, who's one of my all-time favorites. I have like most of everything he's ever done, half CD, half vinyl. But nobody ever talks about him on here. And I don't know if you're a major fan of his or just you happen to have that record.
when I was a kid, I was walking down the street and we walked by each other and he kicked me in the face. So I haven't, no, I don't, I mean, as a person that I've heard, as a music fan, now don't get me wrong, like I had a huge CD collection that about 10 years ago I digitized everything. So I have hard drives of music. That's how I accessed my music. So I have a huge knowledge of it. I'm particularly a movie person, both in my professional life and as a movie fan. I have over 600 DVDs and Blu-rays. So I have an obsessive collecting mentality, but I feel like vinyl speaks to me in my soul.
Oh my goodness.
And the whole, and
no one's ever said that before.
No. And you know what? Here's the deal. The vinyl community needs a middle-aged guy with a goatee, glasses, and a hat. There's not enough of us in the vinyl community.
I was going to say something along those lines and say when I saw a middle-aged Jewish guy in Los Angeles.
How do you know I'm Jewish?
I'll tell you later. Who likes jazz and who likes John Scofield. I said, this is somebody who I may have some commonality with. The first one of these videos that I did on somebody else's channel, I think it was called Two Live Jews. And that was on Matthew's channel.
There was a rap group. There was a rap group in the late 80s.
I have that.
It's like a sauna in here, right?
I'm schwitzing.
Yeah.
But that was with Mazzy. I don't know if you know Mazzy, but he's the elder.
I've had some
Mazzy
exchanges with Mazzy, both in the Hoffman forums, but mainly he watched my. I have two videos, and to be serious about my approach to this, starting the channel, is I haven't told a lot of people I did it. I was doing it for me, and I wanted to see how naturally it could grow. 2 months later, I'm headed toward 100 subscribers, and but two of my videos, one I kind of tried to make it go viral, and it did. It's going near 1,900 views, which is crazy. But one,
I might have to steal the idea. Which
that's
one
my Hassan, the
EB.
review of the album EB, and I put a link. I'm very transparent, by the way. I do not lie. So I purposely put it in some jazz forums that I had the album. I knew there was some need to know about it, and there wasn't a lot of things out there, and it was a pretty straightforward. You had that was my first interaction with you, as you had commented on there, and I knew, it's a sarcastic person on YouTube. I got your humor right away. I didn't. So, and I've watched a lot of your videos. You're good at you're good at kind of interviewing and putting a concept behind your videos. So I've watched a lot of your stuff, and there were interest to me. So enough praise on you. It's not about you. It's about me. So, but
about you, and we hope you get more subscribers out of this. And I would be disappointed if you lost 20 subscribers because of this.
Well, that's what people say. So my attitude towards it is, and I had some help. I had reached out to JC from the Flip Side, who's an awesome dude. He's like the epitome of what the welcoming VC person is, and he is a fully accept. His taste in music is so huge, and there's not much that he's not open to listening to, and he's so supportive. So when I reached, he didn't know me from a hole in the wall, so we set up a Zoom call where we could get to know each other. So he knew I wasn't some sort of I am a wacko, but some sort of nutcase who would stalk you.
We don't want to cycle life. There are some of those on BC, by the way.
There's some of them everywhere.
That's true.
It's, you know.
This is not the haven that you think it is.
So he was nice enough to do my first video with me, which we did the soundtrack vinyl showdown or something. I think, yeah. And it's very rough in the form. And he was so great. So that was he made it easy for me to get into doing this. And I didn't want to do the kind of stuff that everyone else does, not because of I look down at it, because they do it well. And I wanted what unique thing I have to offer is just my take on things, you know?
Well, what is the thing that everyone else does that you're trying to get away from? So maybe I should get away from that.
Yeah, it's like having a background of vinyl, drinking while you're hosting your, like a lot of people are very informative, which is awesome. Like they'll do the things coming out. I don't have the wherewithal, the time, or the desire to go to say, oh, a new reissue of a Guns N' Roses record's coming out. I don't think I'm the person to deliver that kind of information. I'm the person to say, to kind of point things out that people probably think in their head, but verbally don't say I guess I could offend people, but like, here's the thing that's amazing to me about the VC. This is the kind of ironic thing about the VC.
Yes.
Talk about music, talk about music, talk about music. You can't play the music. Isn't that the weirdest thing?
That's because the evil people at the record companies, who in many ways are evil.
Well, I will give a smidgen of information about my personal life. So I've worked over 25 years of market research in the motion picture industry. The thing that I know from my heart and that I push on people is the number one indication of success of anything. Do you know what the number one indication of success it is?
We're talking about
just anything. Word of mouth. There you go. Well, you are. Usually Gregs with 2 G's aren't as smart as Gregs with 1 G.
I have 3. 1 at the beginning and 2 at the end for those.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's how dumb I am. I didn't get the first G. I looked at the 2 G. So, but word of mouth is the number one indication of success of anything. You having me on here is a form of word of mouth. You liked what I was doing enough to get it. And so word of mouth, and word of mouth is a funny thing. If you, as a normal person, I guess you're a normal person, you have 10 friends, right?
I wish someday I'll have 10 friends.
Well, when you say something to them, they go, well, Greg knows what he's talking about. I'm going to listen to him.
You tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends. That's the shampoo.
And you know what? The problem with people is they date themselves with pop culture references.
What's wrong with being old and wise?
Nothing's wrong with being old and wise. When you want to relate to the young people, there's this thing I have called the rule of 5. Rule of 5.
What makes you think I want to relate to the young people? But I do want to hear the rule of 5.
The rule of 5 is this. Usually the youngest adult demographic is 18-year-olds. Whatever you're talking about, if it's pop culture, if it's not relatable from the time 5 years before they were 18 till the time they're 18, it's going to fall upon deaf ears.
You're talking about a 13-year-old now?
No, I'm talking about an 18-year-old whose kind of awareness of pop culture that could pertain to adult people starts around when you're 13. Like typically I think I can guess people's favorite movie because it usually has happened around the time you were.
That was one of my questions.
18.
Somehow in the next 20, 40 minutes, if you can guess my favorite movie. I don't think you'll be able to do it yet.
Well, I won't go into a genre that dare not speak its name. So I'll stick to more mainstream. I'm glad you got that one.
Something you could see on a big screen.
Yeah, not on Santa Monica Boulevard, up until 1995.
Or Times Square. I've got this cute little button here. When somebody says something clever in the chat, Christopher, hello.
Hi, from Sweden.
Happy to let them chat with us. So come on, one and all, chat away. We don't want to interrupt Rob's train of thought here because he's teaching us about marketing. I work in marketing. Not only do I do sales, I also do marketing for my Fortune 500 company. And I read all the marketing books, all the marketing gurus, you know.
Yeah, they're all wrong.
This guy's right, though. Mike says
he likes. Well, I don't know. It is a great movie from a director that some people have canceled. Most people have canceled, right?
Who's the director?
Roman Polanski.
Oh, Roman. Okay. Well, I know that's
I'm sort of a movie encyclopedia. That's a weird thing too. My expertise, and I'm both in my personal life, I'm sort of a movie encyclopedia. Why didn't I start a YouTube movie channel? Again,
you can add them together. You can mix it up a little bit.
Well, I'll do soundtracks and stuff. I just don't feel that it lends itself to my sensibility to just sit there and talk about, because I think people overanalyze movies personally.
Mm-hmm.
They really go too far with their analysis on movies, because here's my take. I've worked for here's the normal person that people forget about, your marketing gurus, and probably in DC too. Mm-hmm. The normal person says, you know what? I've worked hard all week. All I want to do is get something to eat and forget about my problems for 2 hours. That is a moviegoer, right? Mm-hmm. So people don't think about that as the kind of going towards your favorite, listening to music, watching a movie or a TV show. I want to forget about my horrible life and get lost in it.
And I don't think whether it's alcohol or
no substances,
a feel-good movie, but yes. you're saying that the movie-going public wants to just go enjoy themselves, and they don't want to analyze the milieu of anything. They just want to see the freaking movie. Is that kind of where you're going with that? The analysis?
100%. How often? You're highfalutin, Greg. So
I use that word.
Your tastes are a little more serious, probably, when it comes to
Criterion Collection. Ooh.
Yeah.
Criterion Collection, but I watch a lot of black and white movies.
Well,
black and white stuff.
Not to veer all over the place. Here's another thing.
You're all over the place.
Yeah. The person who says to me, they don't make movies like they used to, I want to punch in the face. That is so not true. They make movies exactly like they used to. Back in the day, they were making the sequel to the movie they were shooting now the week after. No one talks about the horrible movies that were made 40, 60 years ago, because they were horrible then. They only talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So when something goes through the filter of time, we throw away the 90% of crap and we keep the 10%. But I will state that if you look at the quality over time, we had a couple blips. We had 65 to 75 in vinyl. We had, 55 to 70 in jazz. We had, the film noir period. Those are little blips, but still.
In your mind, they were blips.
90% of those probably still were crap, though.
No, but in your mind, they were blips. Well, I'll tell you right now, not to go all over the place. My buddy in the Valley goes, "You got to get over here. There's an estate sale. I was going for a walk, and there's tons of albums."
I told me, but that's okay.
No, I saved you from horribleness. So I get there, and in the afternoon when the estate sale started at 7, it was a guy who had a lot of vinyl, but the good stuff was gone already. I walked into the garage, and someone had just bought everything sitting there. But the guy said there's a back room, and go there. And there was a couple hundred, maybe 300 albums. And I just went through it with my kind of novice jazz mind and pulled out what I thought was good. And it was the pressurized situation of other people behind me were going to buy it, not looking at the vinyl to see if it was what I have terms on my channel that I want to become t-shirts, like a hobo album, like a hobo slept on it, that was all scuffed up and dirty and had mildew, but they were they're in good shape. And there's a lot of kind of.
Well, was there anything there worth seeing?
Duke Ellington at Yale. There was nothing.
You show that? I think you showed that.
I showed it. I have a couple.
Yeah.
There's some. I have to listen. There was a Stan Getz album that I listened to yesterday from probably the early '80s, and it was good. It was just him and a piano. And I have a Dexter Gordon album, a Columbia album, probably when he was restarting back his career in the early '80s. So there's good stuff. And just so you know, I'm very transparent. The way I support my vinyl habit is when I find stuff that isn't for me, I'll sell it on eBay. Not a flipper, so to speak, but I've had I'll price it towards Discogs. That seems to be how everyone does it, and I've done pretty well selling vinyl. But I put it back into my collection. I put it back into mom and pop, indie record stores. I send them my money, and they send me the ones I want. So
I've thought about doing that. I buy things that I think I know. I don't know if I'll like this, but I can probably sell it. And I think of the billions of records that we've bought in the last 3 or 4 years, I think we've sold 1 or maybe 2. So we're still behind the 8 ball.
You need marketing ability you need to side, what do you call it, curb appeal to your, like, I told you before we started, Greg and I were talking, I'm very Forrest Gumpy in my life. I've been in the middle of kind of, here, I'll just digress. Remember last,
I saw you with, who was it? I saw a picture of you with, was that the Beatles or Kennedy or something?
Yeah, me and Paul are like this.
Yeah, I saw that photo.
Can I go out of frame? Actually, I messaged you. I was at the Amoeba Paul McCartney concert.
Yeah.
I was at the concert. He has an album. I was there with 300 people in Amoeba watching Paul McCartney. Supposed to do a 20-minute set. He did an hour and a half.
Wow.
So I heard about it that morning and went and got in line and was in there. So that's kind of how I say I'm Forrest Gumpy with things like that.
I've seen a few of the Amoeba shows, but missed that one. My friend went to see that one.
I'm better than you. I'm better than you because I got to attend.
You may be. So I was at an estate sale the other day, and I was.
Why didn't you call me?
Well, I should have. And a Blue Note record at an estate sale.
$2.
There's the
a hobo.
Cover.
That's a hobo, right?
Cover.
Would you call that a hobo?
Well, then there's the rest of them. A whole box of stuff. Mold, grime, vomit.
Yeah, but it still sound good.
And so I went to the lady and I said, I'm interested. She said 20 for the whole box. I said 5. I left in a huff. My wife is quite happy I didn't bring home any more moldy hobo sleepwear. So I got enough. I buy too much stuff. And my thing is, my son keeps telling me, Dad, why do you buy quantity instead of quality?
Yeah.
So like you, I like the Goodwill. I was there today. I forgot to bring what I got today. And I've got hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of albums that I've paid $1 for.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning to not buy. Like I went to the Goodwill and picked up 2 Rod Stewart albums, and I got them home, and they're okay. But here's my attitude towards Rod Stewart album. Is it going to get me? No, I'm joking. My attitude is, if I keep buying this stuff, only buy it if I think people. I don't have enough room to buy stuff that I would listen to once or twice, and I leave it for someone else. But again, if I told you my Goodwill stories, you would probably faint, because here's my first big Goodwill story. I went to Goodwill and someone had dropped a bunch of sealed albums. And I was smart enough to have my phone and smart enough to know that I should look up the albums before buying them. And it looked like they were a bunch of promo albums that someone dumped. And I looked through a bunch, and Discogs told me this is not worth anything. eBay told me nothing. I found one album, and I couldn't find the Discogs entry. All I found was someone was selling the CD of that album for $150. So I go, you know what? I'm buying this $3 sealed album. I got home. and I did a bunch of sleuthing and found a Reddit thread from 5 years before where someone was talking about the album, and they go, "I check Discogs all the time. I'm looking for this album." The vinyl version of this album was put out as a promo only. I don't know. It was probably 10 years old, the album, and it was still sealed. Inside the album was also the CD of the album. Then I entered it into Discogs, and it goes, "Oh, you could charge $200 for this." Guess what I charged for it? $200. Guess I woke up the next morning from an email from Discogs saying, "I'm in Germany. I would love this album. Will you mail it to me?" Germany. I go, "You're going to give me $200 for this?" I sent it to Germany. That was my first real.
Very nice.
Yeah, but you would think, and I had a good perspective. This ain't gonna happen again.
It happens a lot.
It's happened to me 10 times.
So I don't know if you go to the Goodwill on Santa Monica Boulevard. It's kind of near Bundy or something. You know what I'm talking about? It's close. It's close to the New Art and everything.
Greg, please tell everyone where we go to get
moved. Well, there's a store that I used to work out there. I used to work on Olympic. So I would stop there all the time. And I got in there once and I got a sealed, I don't know if it's Music Matters or Acoustic Sounds, one of these super high-end jazz records sealed. It retails for $60, $50, $60. And
Not now. Probably worth like $300.
No, retail if you bought it from day one. Yeah. And it was priced at $5.99, but still.
Wait, which album was it? Do you remember?
Stanley Turrentine at Minton's. It's kind of a jam, but it's a Blue Note.
I've gotten a Stanley Turrentine album, but it was a 70s. I have it from
this is a sealed 45 RPM.
Wow.
File thing. Yeah. I grab it. I go stand in line. There's a guy in front of me in line with the other three that I missed, with the Coltrane and the Horace Silver and the Art Blakey, and he just left the Stanley. If I had got there 5 minutes earlier.
And well, you know what? Here's the deal.
He didn't know what audiophile was.
Yeah, I understand, but if I understand our ethnic leaning to have those thoughts, but not to go too much into my life as a middle-aged,
you're in the closet still,
Jewish person, and I had a health crisis about 3 or 4 years ago, by the way, and what I didn't want for myself is a worrier, you know, my predisposition because of my heritage to worry about stuff.
Well, I'm
kind of saying, you know, you did a post where you found a Coltrane Olay with your Goodwill sticker on there, and I go, how did Greg beat me to it? So I was like that. I go, I can't think that way. So you know what? How about this? It's all. I don't know if you're a big Simpson
video. I didn't make the video of the unveiling of that record because there's a surprise inside.
$100 bill?
No.
What?
The wrong album.
Huh? It was not that album? Was it Helen Reddy?
It was Bobo Sete on Verve. It was a jazz. I looked at it and said, oh, Verve. Yeah, it's a jazz. Okay, I took it home. I'm going to do a whole video on this sad story about how stupid I was because I was tired.
Well, no.
And it's confirmation bias. I wanted to see a jazz record. I took it home and said, what? And my Goodwill is $5 out here for a record, which is ridiculous.
I told you this. This is what happens because of the pandemic. And because my Goodwills, the prices change all the time. So I live near 3 Goodwills and a Salvation Army. The 3 Goodwills all charge different for the albums. So from what I understand is it's the discretion of the person that's there, and they kind of float around. They don't stay one location. So they charge what they think based on their knowledge. It's like nothing set in stone.
Their knowledge, they have no knowledge. Andre Costalance scratched.
Okay, let me put you into. I know your delicate hands have never done a day of hard work, but let me just put you into the mind of a retail person.
I worked in many retail stores.
First of all, the first thing on their mind is, I'm being paid $10 an hour to do this. I don't want to hear your crap, lady.
I'm not doing anything. standing around looking at their phone the whole
Well, wait. I'm telling. I have some. This is gold. This is what's going to make your video hit the stratosphere. You had the intelligence to have me on here, but let me give you the pearls of wisdom of the mind or someone who works at Goodwill. I'm not being paid enough to be here. And
exposure.
In the same period of time, they're pricing albums. They're pricing underwear. What's the mindset that they're thinking? They're not thinking about you and your proclivity to not be there 5 minutes earlier to get the 3 other awesome ass albums.
Well, and they touched someone else's underwear. Someone who
dude, come on. I'm not a germaphobe, but if you're listen, the people that for the most part, now the type of people that go to Goodwill are everyone, just because of the circumstances, but mainly what you can find there. I went in there because I really didn't have anything to play my CDs on with my stereo system that I rebought with the earnings from selling vinyl. I upgraded my system to something nice, probably not as nice as yours. But I went in there and found a 3D Blu-ray that played everything player that cost $300 for $15. So
I love doing that too. I've got my can you see it over there? My Marantz 5-disc player. The black one is from the Goodwill.
Yeah.
And it was probably $17.99 Salvation Army.
Did you plug it in before at the store to make sure it worked?
I brought with me headphones and a CD in my pocket.
Can you do like the headphone thing again? Because I don't get the word coming out of your mouth as headphones.
This is what I do with my Italian wife all day long, because she does this, and I say, "Can you show me how to walk again? Can you show me how to put on a hat?" Because she talks with her. She's Italian. So yeah, half the stuff in my house is from the Goodwill. The turntable over there, the one that we're not going to mention, I think I got 2 or 3 Technics turntables there. They're all over the house. I have 7 turntables hooked up.
Well, I wish I would have known you when I was looking for a new turntable. Do you use OfferUp? Because that's a great place. OfferUp.
I've looked at that and I don't think I've bought or sold anything on it yet, but I look at all the cheap stuff,
I bought a Denon. Got my turntables a Denon. I got it it didn't have a cartridge, but I got it for less than half price. It was almost new. I just had to go get a cartridge.
Newer model. It's not the big, nice cherry wood one. It's
the 300 whatever.
It's the one I see in your videos on the shelf there.
Yeah. I have a sister who I sent, because I did tell her I did videos, and we're Irish twins, and her remark was, "I can see up your nose." That's not an invitation for you guys to watch my videos now. And
you mean you're doing this kind of thing?
Trimming my nose hairs. Yeah. But I thought it was a good. I live in a small apartment in Santa Monica, so I like my setup. Except I have a couple of people I've become friendly with. I call friends, and one of them said, like, "There's a towel on your door," and I go, "Well, I don't care." Now I look to take the towel down when I shoot my videos.
I've shot a video in my other room, and the bathroom door was open, and you could see. So I had to reshoot the whole thing, because there are certain things that shall never be shown to the general public. Like,
I have it on good authority that most people use the bathroom, but that's my piece of knowledge I'm giving to you.
Aren't very many married men who have their own bathroom that's only theirs.
Wow.
And
it's true. You truly have a what do you call it?
A bathroom my wife won't step into, and why should anyone see it? Let's not go there. Let's cut this part of the video out, because she's going to be not happy. Let's get back to what were we talking about? Marketing, the Goodwill, the problems at the Goodwill, the pricing. Did you ever give me the 5 things?
Oh,
the 5 principles of waxed marketing?
No. I told you the rule of 5 was the youngest demographic.
Oh,
what you're referencing in pop culture was relevant to them from the time they are 13 to 18.
And what
So
happens after they're 18? It's not relevant anymore.
no, then you know, then you're pretty knowledgeable. Whatever lane you choose to be your sort of thing in pop culture, you know, I think a 20-year-old knows Seinfeld, even though hasn't been on the air for so many years. So I don't think, you know, I think I'm a big person to say that nostalgia, there's no such thing as nostalgia. Is that a huge statement to make to people?
I think. What the hell is that? I don't think anybody.
We're on my computer, and then I'm getting a text message from someone.
I think a lot of people would not agree with that.
I have a good reason why I don't believe there's no such thing such as nostalgia.
Okay.
What would you be nostalgic about? A song? Well, you could pull that song up on your phone with the streaming. A movie? You could instantly watch the movie when you think about it. How does that action allow room for nostalgia? Nostalgia is the act of remembering it, and it's not accessible to you. That's how I interpret it. No? Am I wrong?
Nothing about I don't get the part about not being accessible to you. There's a trend right now in marketing where people are buying nostalgia brands. You probably know about this. Crossley.
You mean legacy brands?
Yeah, but it's partly is because of the nostalgia.
What Malamars? Because you're from New York and you ate the chocolate marshmallow cookie?
Many, a couple of investors and marketing people are buying up these old brands because of nostalgia. Now, I don't think anybody today cares about Crossley because they didn't drive a car from 1930. So the people, I don't think that's a good example.
I have a good response for you. I understand your point. It's a good point. That's a room full of VCP, not venture capitalists, not vinyl community people, that are synthetic about their approach to appropriating things of value. Because I grew up in DC. There's a Maryland beer called National Bohemian. I don't know if it was ever national. They went out of business and someone bought the name thinking exactly what you said. But the problem is the art of marketing is informing people of something they don't know about, right? There is no value to me in acquiring a brand at one point in time was famous, unless they have a secret recipe or something like that. Like no one is opening back up Burger Chef locations or.
We had that in Missouri.
You're from Missouri?
Yeah. Steak and Shake. That's the one you want to get.
They fit. So you know what? Here's the good thing. Someone bought Steak and Shake because of that reason. You know what they did? They went and opened them up all over the country. They opened them up here and they went kaput. There is no value in buying something.
Well, that doesn't mean nostalgia doesn't exist though, because if we watch a lot of old TV. We're watching the old Looney Tunes right now. They're from the 30s and 40s.
Well, that's not nostalgia.
Why is that not nostalgia?
Because you're watching it and enjoying it. There's no nostalgia to it.
I don't think we're agreeing on the definition of nostalgia. So I'm going to ask Google what nostalgia is.
Listen, hey, by the way, I am not right. This is just my take on it.
The take. Oh, this is the wax take. Okay.
I have to do like flash across the screen? Pause for a wax take.
I can do that. I can make that happen in StreamYard, but I don't feel like typing because I'll screw it up. But
no. Let's just have it. We're having a nice conversation.
We're having a nice conversation. I'm very interested in marketing. You're a professional in marketing. I do marketing for my company because they don't have anybody else to do it. But I follow all these.
I'll keep it in movies. I'll keep it in movies for 1 second. Okay.
Yeah. Let's get back to movies, and then we'll get to records someday.
There is an old guy who has the rights to a 70s TV show. Let's say Mannix, because no one's making a Mannix movie. No one's rebooting Mannix as a TV show. But I own the rights to Mannix. The rights to Mannix only has value is if people know what Mannix is. So let's make a Mannix movie. The problem with it is they make the Mannix movie without doing market research on the potential moviegoer who goes, who the hell is Mannix? I don't care about Mannix. They've done this with movies. They did it with the A-Team. The problem is the TV show The A-Team ran all the time on the USA Network, and then it went away. So again, we go back to the number one demographic for movies is like 18 to 34. Those half of your potential audience didn't know what the A-Team was. They weren't alive when it was on TV.
I agree with you, and the trend that I think you're talking about is not so much nostalgia, it's copycatism and a lack of originality in movies and TV. Oh, this was a success, let's copy it, and they're copying the wrong thing.
Well, okay, let's be realistic too. You know where people see a movie for the first time? Most people see a movie for the first time historically on TV.
Right.
If you think about, like, let's say the number one movie made $200 or $300 million domestically, right? If you do the math, that's not a lot of people. $8 a ticket. So if a movie makes $100 million in opening weekend, did 8 million people go see it? That's North America. There's 350 million people or more than that in North America. So what percentage is that? Nothing. People's perception of everything is based on secondhand information. That's my take on things. So
I heard that on the internet too.
Huh?
I heard that on the internet too.
Yeah, that's secondhand information.
That was an ironic joke. Well, the point I was trying to make is a lot of TV shows, movies. Hey, let's copy this. We don't have an original idea. We don't have room for original ideas, but let's reboot something. Okay, it was popular 40 years ago. It's not going to be popular today. I wouldn't go see the A-Team as a movie. I wouldn't go see a Mannix movie.
Well, the A-Team movie wasn't a bad movie, by the way.
Well, I might turn it on. I love Columbo, but I wouldn't see a Columbo movie because Peter Falk is not here to make it. And I can enjoy what he did.
Yeah, but half of the people don't know who Peter Falk is.
Then you might as well not even pay for the rights to Columbo and just call it Raincoat.
That's my point. Why not just make them? Why remake a movie about
something that no one cares about today?
Or for like the A-Team, why not make a movie just about four guys who get together and come in and are crusaders?
I think Hollywood overvalues this nostalgia.
Intellectual property. They overvalue it.
They overvalue it when it's so over. It's so freaking over. So somebody came up with Crosley as a turntable. Somebody else bought the rights to, what the hell is it? What was that terrible car? Not Edsel. One like that. Somebody bought the rights to a car name like that. I don't think it was Edsel. And they slapped it on a spin clean record maker. I'm like, yeah. Nobody knows the name of this car that was from 50 years ago. But
it's all marketing.
You know what I'm talking about? The brand. So this brand has a whole line of record cleaners, record players, record brushes on a brand name that no one under 70 remembers. And those who do remember it didn't even value it or like it then. So why even spend the money on that stupid brand name?
Well, I don't know. Let me give you another way to look at it with regards to that sort of thing. I think people just inaccessible. I don't even know if people, they saw a record player that cost $50 or less, that was in a case, that looked cute, that they could take home and spin their parents' records. That's how it took off. And I think that's how it got a following in that regard. Whether maybe I don't know the story, but maybe they got the name for $50. So, and maybe the logo looked good to the person acquiring it. So I'm with you on that, but it's, I had a thought in my head, but since I'm an older guy, It went away as you were talking.
Can't find it either. I can't find your thought.
But there's so many examples of with regards to that sort of thing. But you know what it does?
What does it?
What was your first car? Your first car wasn't a $50,000 automobile. It was a junker probably that maybe you got for yourselves or your parents got for you. That or you need to learn how to have a car and that sort of thing. So I don't see the bad in these Crosley players because it's conditioning a young group of people to get into it. And just the math that goes into it is if you can retain 20% of them to go in and become serious vinyl collectors, you're doing something correctly.
I'm just talking about the name. To spend the money on a name that you think is going to resonate with people that no one's heard of. Most Crosley owners today, ages 16 to 22. Do you know where the name Crosley came from? Did you know there was a car company that made, and they also made radios in the 30s? There were like,
it sounds like the annoying neighbor that lives in your neighborhood. Old man Crosley chased the kids up the lawn. So it's not even a name that's like welcomes soothing audio listening.
It was like, one of the worst cars of its day.
But you know what? One of the worst cars of its day was the Hyundai, who reinvented themselves when they hired on new people. Look, would you have bought a Blue Note album that was produced in the last 10 years up until the point that I bought one of those 75th anniversary. I bought Idle Moments. Again, it was like I might as well have been stepping on bubble wrap as I was listening to it.
I have got the Cannonball Adderley right up there, and now I got to go buy it again for the 80th version because the 75th anniversary. Yeah,
was pressed in a combo pressing plant gymboree for young kids. It's like, how is there Ritz crackers on my album? It's like people,
I get it. So we're arguing about nostalgia for the last half hour. And
is it bad? Do we have to edit it out, or
no? I don't do any editing unless you say something that could get me kicked off YouTube. So please don't do anything like that. But
I have a foul mouth. I don't think I said anything but
no. You're fine. You're fine so far. If we want to get into your origin story.
My origin story. Well, two people met.
Two people met. Their eyes met across a smoky bar.
Well, I mainly say I'm from Washington, D.C. when I arrived there at 2 years old. I say water. I say toast.
The Baltimore accent is one of the most annoying in the country.
Well, okay, so now here's the thing. There's an area of Baltimore, if you've watched John Waters movies, that is called Dundalk. And that's where they talk like what you hear. Like John Travolta did it really well in the Hairspray musical version. Dundalk. The eastern mid-Atlantic, because Philly has those Kevin Bacon oohs. But Maryland, I grew up all around DC, but the Maryland people going to the shore. You going to the shore? Gonna get some saltwater taffy, have some crabs. But when I moved to LA, now I've lived in LA for almost 30 years. But when people say
40 years.
But I do say water when I say water. Yeah. Well, that's my origin story.
That was his origin story. That only describes a couple of your vowels, not the rest of your life. So,
well, I
don't know how far back I want to go. Just get to the interesting stuff,
Well, I grew up near the arena, the Capitol Center, where all the concerts were in DC.
What was it called?
The Capitol Center. It's where, at the time, the Washington Bullets and the Washington Capitals hockey team played their games.
Oh, like a big arena, not a center.
It's like the Staples Center of DC for up until the Wizards all moved to. They built an arena downtown in DC, and then that's where all the concerts were. So this is a good story. My friends and me, when we were in our young teens, got a job handing out the freebies at the Washington Bullets games. You know, when you went to a game, they had freebies.
Yeah.
The bags, the T-shirts, and it was always funny because we would keep stuff for. Well, we gave out free pizza to Chuck E. Cheese, and we kept so many of the coupons. Every weekend, we'd go to Chuck E. Cheese and cash them in. But our contact there would get us tickets to concerts when we would ask. So I saw every big show in my formative years. I saw there. The most famous is U2. Famous show because Bono said, "I hate security. Everyone come to the stage." Like 18,000 people. The whole people on the floor rushed the stage. And if you go online and read about it, I thought Bono got arrested. Their tour manager got arrested because he did that. Yeah.
No one got hurt or killed or smushed or anything?
No, it was back in the 80s. No one died in the 80s at a concert. Come on.
You know about the Who, right?
No, there was no.
Our kids were too young to know about the Who. That was only 12 people got killed.
No. I know tons of. Trust me, but I saw all the good shows there, and it was there's a very famous video if you go on YouTube called "Heavy Metal Parking Lot." Have you ever heard of that? Someone had took a camcorder around before a Judas Priest show at the Capitol Center and just recorded everyone in the parking lot, and it turned into this viral sensation. Someone put it up on YouTube, maybe whenever YouTube started. If you want a good laugh or go on YouTube and watch Heavy Metal Parking Lot.
So are people dressed up in their heavy metal gear with their studded leather and their hair and all that stuff?
Dude, you'll hear people talking with their O's. I'm here for the show, man. And yeah.
That may be the inspiration for the first half of Spinal Tap, it sounds like. That kind of a
That happened probably after Spinal Tap, but maybe not that long after.
Yeah, backwards. You can have backwards inspirations. I don't mind that. Have you heard of a place called the Famous Ballroom?
The Famous Ballroom.
It's a Baltimore thing. It's a Baltimore jazz thing. I thought you'd know, but okay.
No, I mean, I know the DC. I know the DC. There's the Birchmore, but the famous DC Jazz Club is. Geez, now it's failing me, but it's a famous place. Huh? No. It's in Georgetown. It's a very famous club. In fact, I think the Eva Cassidy, you know who Eva Cassidy is. She passed away young, but she sang that famous. There's an audiophile album out of her concert that she did at this place. That there's videos people have talked about it. But now it's like slipping me, and I'm kicking myself that I don't remember the famous jazz club in DC. But Maryland split into two. There's Baltimore part of Maryland and DC part of Maryland. I was a DC part of Maryland person. So.
I've been to DC once for business.
Your picture's hanging all over DC. Please do not let this person in.
I didn't pass any bad checks. I did my work business seminar for 2 days, and then I just did all the museums and all that kind of tourist stuff. It poured rain, and I rented one of those little stupid bikes, and I drove around in the rain.
Well, I'm very allergic to men in black socks and sandals, so I don't like tourists. I live in Santa Monica, but I don't really go down to the pier often.
You'll see a lot of men with sandals and socks.
Sometimes my exercise routine is walking like 4 or 6 miles. I tend to, stay away from those type of people. So,
of course. Well, what can you say? Do you know or care about Record Store Day? Is that on your radar at all?
Yeah. So now, before of the events of the last year that got me into focusing on jazz, I went to Record Store Day yearly, and I would buy a few titles. But I bought a lot of stuff that, after I'm going, why am I buying this? It has no value. I'm not listening to it again.
Because some good marketing person created that desire. That's what I feel I'm doing. Like, wait a minute, I'm getting caught up in this marketing hype here.
Well, you're supporting your mom and pop record store.
And yet they're not supporting
You
me.
have, Greg, you have to think about other people besides
They
yourself.
treat you like crap when you go there, though. Have you found that in some of the records?
Listen, the crowd dictates how you're treated. By the way,
it's their faults.
Actually, let me take a step back. Okay. For my job professionally for many years, I dealt with crowds of people. And here's my funny take on the difference between New York people and LA people. Okay. When you have a line of people and one person in the line gets outraged at you in New York, the crowd usually sides with you against that person. In LA, the crowd usually sides with the person against you. That, to me, that is the difference between New Yorkers and people from Los Angeles. Angelinos.
I can see the humor in that, but I can't remember an anecdote that proves it.
I'm telling you, people listen. The great thing about LA is people stay where they are. They do not come to your area. They stay in their place. In Santa Monica is great because when you go to the areas of Santa Monica that only locals go to, it's generally just people from Santa Monica. And same Sherman Oaks, and they have nice areas. They're all kind of similar. You go on Ventura, you go to Pasadena, fine.
Yeah, I'm a few feet from Ventura and Mulholland.
And and it's everything you need is in a short.
I do not leave Woodland Hills under any circumstances.
Well, and Woodland Hills is great. Unfortunately, for my job, I had to go everywhere in LA. And when the mindset of someone from DC coming to LA, it used to be, I'm sure not, they're very similar cities, Washington, DC and LA. It used to be like when you grew up in DC, everywhere was 20 minutes away. And LA feels like everywhere should be 20 minutes away, but it's not. There's too many people here.
It's an hour. It's an hour to go anywhere.
Yeah. More.
For us to go to Santa Monica, it better be a big deal. It better be like.
Well, I'm here. That's the reason to come to Santa Monica.
Now I have a reason to go twice as often, once every 2 years instead of once. But, Santa Monica feels like it's the cultural and artistic head of LA and the Valley. They look down on the Valley.
No.
You all do out there. You all, Valley only makes X-rated movies. And
no. Here's the funny thing: being a Jewish person, the funny thing when I moved to LA
is funny
is all the delis are Italian delis. They're not Jewish delis. I didn't know Italian delis. But when I need some Jewish soul food, I have to go to Brent's.
I don't like Brent's as much as I like Brent's. Okay, we don't want to get
Brent's in Thousand Oaks is awesome.
Yeah, I go to that one too. And the fact that they were shut down for health about a year ago, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. I go to that one, and there's one in Northridge. It's hard to get to.
I know the Northridge one. I've been to.
And the most insane deli on the planet is down the street, Bay Cities. Oh my God.
But that's an Italian deli.
Yeah, my wife's Italian. We love Italian. Oh, yeah, Jewish. But it's like it would be easier to get Justin Bieber tickets than to get a sandwich at that place. It's like you got to wait in line for 45 minutes.
Well, let's not overlap that. Let's not overlap that Justin Bieber reference. Why are you buying Justin Bieber tickets?
I never have, but I'm trying to come up with an analogy that the young people would get. In my day,
very seriously, there's young people. Hey, Mike's asking, can I guess his age? The fact that he has animal as his icon means it's a strong reference that he was probably watching the original Muppet Show in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So Mike is easily 42 years old. Am I right, Mike? No. Maybe he's closer.
To let us know. He also talked about Westworld, which is a movie that I enjoyed quite a bit when I saw it when it first came out at the theater, and I was in grade school.
Yeah. Well, Westworld's great because at the heart of it, it's all through Richard Benjamin's eyes, who's sort of a nebbishy regular guy. So that's why that movie works. The people I don't want to go so much into what I did for a living, but there's sort of kind of you know how you could get a a movie, the audience will relate. That segment of the audience will relate to the main character, you know. So Westworld's a huge. Obviously, it's a dated film from the 70s. The TV show brilliantly updated the concept to it. But again, that's not a movie that's in the 18 to 34 zeitgeist, you know. That was a big word, by the way, for me to use.
I like zeitgeist, and we had milieu earlier on today, but I was too young to see that. My friend Steve Schulman's birthday party, he took us all to see it, and we were a little too young for that because one guy cried when somebody's head blew off. I thought it was a cool movie, though.
I saw it on TV, and the shot that always, obviously, Yul Brynner, probably one of the better movie villains, ripped from his iconic Magnificent Seven. But there was the fat guy who kind of was in the Henry VIII or medieval period, and I remember
not the Russian actor guy.
He was an American, but he was a heavy-set guy, and he was in the world that was medieval, and he got impaled or something. That kind of stuck in my head, but I didn't see it in the theater.
World, Westworld. What was the other one called? The movie was called Westworld.
Future World was the sequel with Peter Fonda and Blythe Danner. How's that for not a reference knowledge?
Blythe Danner, the star of my favorite Columbo show. We could go all day with my second Columbo reference.
That's one too many Columbo references.
I don't know if you can have too many.
Do you think? Let's take it back to vinyl.
Yes, people are listening.
Peter Falk recorded a album. He had to at the height of his popularity.
Every celebrity had an album, no matter how ridiculous. So,
hey, by the way, yeah, sure. I have an idea, and I want to run it by you.
Okay, should we tell it? Should we mute so no one else can hear this great idea?
No, it's going to be very PG.
Okay. No, I mean for an NDA, so they don't steal our idea. Is it that good?
The whole point of the VC is they embrace ideas and run with it, right? Yes. So this whole tag thing, which I had one of my better viewed videos, is Chris from Tales from the Man Cave is an awesome dude. We connected on Instagram. That's how I think you replied to one of my videos, but we connected on Instagram, and he kind of encouraged me to do his jazz tag, which he's brilliant at it, coming up with the list, and people run with it. It's become a thing. I had a kind of a skew idea for a tag situation.
And hear it first on the Vinyl Rundown, people.
What's
the idea?
Okay.
We're debuting it now.
One of my go-to jokes, and I think I did it to you, is bingo card. Like you made a reference and I go, I just crossed that off my VC bingo card. So my idea was to create a thrift video VC bingo card. And my idea was not to make you buy the album, even though in a thrift store situation, they're fairly cheap.
$4.99.
But you have to use your phone and take a picture, of the album on the bingo card. And that would be Engelbert Humperdinck, Jim Nabors, Barry Manilow, all these albums that people 30 years ago bought.
Andre Costalance.
I have never seen an Andre Costalance.
Oh, that's baloney. You just didn't look at it.
Engelbert, come on, stick with
101 Strings. Durante and Teicher.
An Al Hirt album.
Al Hirt, yeah.
So we just come up with a list of these, always, like, you're flipping through, and like I went to a vinyl store, found a very good plus near mint minus Blood, Sweat, and Tears album cover, and inside was a Helen Reddy album or an Anne Murray album.
So would that count as 2 checks or 2 half checks?
No, but because you want the Blood, Sweat, and Tears album, you want it in your soul,
but for the
ounce of your being. But some moron goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to F with the next guy and slip this Anne Murray album inside of it, or prey upon the fact that they don't check at the album and they take it home, and whatever Anne Murray's biggest hit was.
I don't think she had any. That was my that was the other part of my estate sale story, which I didn't tell you. The same estate sale where I showed you the crappy Blue Note.
Yeah.
I went through all their they had vinyl records in sleeves, not just a pile of garbage out of sleeves. I went through Junk, Oklahoma soundtrack. The Byrds, a Byrds album from 1960 or whatever. That's pretty cool for $1.
What was the condition?
Wrong album inside.
Helen Reddy?
It was like I think it was Glenn Campbell Christmas. I put it back. I put it in the stack. I go about looking for other stuff, and some guy's grabbing the record. I said, "You might want to check, see what's in there." And he looked at me like I was being rude.
Well, that's someone from LA. That's a typical response.
I think he maybe was an immigrant who didn't speak as fluently as I do the Queen's English. But then I was standing next to him at the checkout, and I said, "Did you check that out?" I said, "No, check it out." He pulls it out and he just stares at it blankly. So what record is that?
He deserves.
My family berated me for not being nicer. I didn't say, "Excuse me, sir, do you know that that's not the Byrds?" I used the Socratic method to teach him the lesson, teach him how to fish,
The passive aggressiveness of people from Los Angeles is a disease that needs to be cured by Glenn Campbell.
My passive aggressiveness that I didn't want to
help?
No,
the person that was not listening to you. You were being
like, what, do you want this album?
Glenn Campbell will cure passive aggressiveness. Let him go home and listen to it.
He might not have known the difference. That's the funny part.
Well, now we go in the value of percentages. The VC community is made up of, it's like the pyramid of VC people, and it goes down to the people that it's just can you write like Charlie Brown writes? Can you write? I'd rather you just write scribbly like Charlie Brown writes. Yeah. But the posers that are getting into it because it's cool, let them buy all the Glenn Campbell albums that are stuffed in, the better sleeves.
They wouldn't. Hopefully they're not that silly, but
well, I went through my bad thrift store phase when I go, oh my God, Squeeze, all these kind of early 80s bands. I grabbed all the albums, went home, put them on my turntable. They were all warped. I didn't know to look and see if they were flat.
That's sad. I de-warp things with my my giant 16-inch concrete pavers because it'll be 100 degrees here in the valley for the next.
Does it work? Does it work?
Yeah.
Woodland Hills is often the hottest place in the country sometimes during the year. It
was 119 last year, I think.
Yeah, I don't know that. I live in Santa Monica where it's easily 30 degrees difference from where you live.
When I'm going to Santa Monica and I start out in shorts and I get there and it's pants weather.
Yeah.
I got to bring a change of pants up, pants down. That reminds me two other things we have to touch on. So you can just keep blabbing, but we didn't finish bingo.
Well, no, we sort of did where, hey, anyone who's watching this from either now or after it's been posted, please respond in the comments that you like my idea for a VC tag bingo where we come up with a list of albums you find all the time at yard sales or thrift stores and stuff.
Do it anyway. We just got to do it anyway.
Well,
you make the video.
Yeah.
And it takes off. This is not the focus group because there's only 6 people watching. So if you want to focus group,
why am I here for 6 people? I'll see you.
Work up at first. Well, if you got to do something more, a little wilder. When this shows in reruns on YouTube for the next 10 years, those you're going to get a lot of hits.
Can I ask you some questions?
Yes, please.
From my pages and pages of things I wrote down about you.
Look how many questions I have left for you. But you go ahead.
Okay, here's some right here. You're very good about getting interviews with people. Is that just stick-to-itiveness or reaching out?
I'm kind of disappointed when people on the VC are doing it better than me because I'm jealous that I didn't. Why didn't I think of interviewing that guy? I started with a very interesting concept that blossomed into something. Last September 7th was what? Sonny Rollins' 90th birthday. I had no concept that I would get Sonny Rollins to come on my show. I didn't bother asking him.
He lives in LA?
No, he lives in Woodstock, New York.
Oh, wow.
But I reached out to people that were tangentially related to him. And the first one I did was a gentleman who kind of calls himself Sonny Rollins' godson, who's a sax player in New York, Eric Wyatt. And he knows he knows Sonny. He knows everybody who knows Sonny. His father was the guy who went onto the bridge with Sonny to jam. And
I just got that album, the org music one, which I was a year late from availability, and I'm happy I only paid twice the price. And it's
the bridge album with Jim Hall and all those people.
The Bernie Grumman mastered org version. But I want you to finish your story when I go. We'll go to what I was thinking of.
A tangent.
Yeah,
I'm talking to me. So he said, "Oh, you got to call this guy. You got to call that guy." And he gave me a bunch of names, and he contacted some people. He got very excited about this. So the guy who does the Sonny Rollins Bridge Project, which, in New York, trying to get the bridge renamed, I'd spent an hour with him. Zev Feldman, who you know of.
Well, he's a DC Jew too. I want to meet that dude.
You, the three of us, because after I talked to him, he said we're going to get together for pastrami, and so we can all get together.
Yeah, there's like 4 of us DC Jews, and
I didn't know there's another one somewhere.
Ben Mankiewicz is a DC Jew. You know Ben Mankiewicz from
Mank. I watched the Mank movie, and we watched Ben on the
yeah, he's a DC Jew
movie channel thing. We watch him a lot. So the Sonny Rollins thing was a good entree into this. Tim Byrne, who's a huge sax player, who I've seen, who's got 60 records out. He's like, yeah, sure, I got nothing else to do. So I got like 8 or 10 or 12 people just because of the Sonny Rollins thing. And that kind of blossomed into some other things. Then it was Monk's birthday. I'm like, oh, there's this new Monk album, Palo Alto. You know that record?
Yeah.
Danny Scher, who produced the Monk concert when he was 16 years old.
It was recorded. Yeah.
That's a great story because he's like, yeah, we went to pick up Monk in my mom's Dodge Dart, and the bass player's neck was hanging out the window, and he's got so many great stories. So a lot of people don't return your phone calls. There's plenty of people that I texted or emailed, and they don't even respond. But you say, hey, I've interviewed these 3 or 4 people. You got some credibility. And there you go.
You have a lot of subscribers and a lot of views, so people take you seriously.
I'm very serious about this. I'm monetized now. I'm making upwards of $18 to $20 a month thanks to all your clicks.
Hey, dude, that pays for an album.
StreamYard account. It only pays for the StreamYard account because this thing is $25 a month, and I hardly ever use it. I've only done one a month for the last 3 months. But
and now it doesn't make me feel so good doing your stream. Thank you.
But we're going to promote this because you're a master of promotion. You're going to do a press release on this and get it out to all.
Let's do sort of the go-to is to do a Maury Povich title. Greg turned out to be my illegitimate brother.
The host got beaten up on his own show.
I'll throw a chair at you if you want.
Yeah. There was one more point I was going to make about. I've met a lot of people who we've talked about doing interviews with on this new social media thing called Clubhouse. Did I tell you about? Do you know or care about Clubhouse?
I think you might have mentioned it, but it's I've heard of Clubhouse. So when things were going crazy, all the more reasonably thinking people were thinking about going there. Am I wrong?
I don't know how to answer that, but there's reasonable people there and there's unreasonable people there.
Well, in my mind, there are 2 persuasions socially. Those are unreasonable people and reasonable people.
I move
fully vaxxed, by the way.
I move between both.
You do?
I'm moving both circles. I've been on
Because
some
if
rooms,
you live in Woodland Hills, there's a lot of people on both sides of the sidewalk, I suppose.
and you're talking about mentality or some other thing, but
More in a
I'm going to talk politics.
I'm not going into politics, but
Good.
more in a politically social kind of way. Is that the safe way to talk about it?
Yeah. On
Am
Clubhouse.
I wrong? But I'm just trying to clarify Clubhouse. I'm not trying to direct a
Let me
conversation.
say words about Clubhouse.
Yeah.
New social media app that's based on conversations. So like this conversation, I could say, hey guys, I'm starting a room with the Vaxxed and we're going to talk about vinyl. And maybe 5 people would show up, maybe 50 people would show up. And people moderate rooms on a regular basis. And I've got some amazing music conversations. I've met some amazing people.
You're doing video, Clubhouse's video, or both?
Clubhouse is not video.
It's audio.
It's live chat.
Oh, live chat. Okay, thank you.
And it's like this conversation, the video is okay. It's 2 guys' faces. We could paste it there.
Yeah, I can't type that fast though.
No, you're talking.
Okay.
There's no texting. Nothing is recorded. It's ephemeral. So this room is going on now, and once it's over, it's gone. So I follow this one guy who's a really good guitar player. He's played with a lot of semi-famous bands. And every morning he says, okay, today we're going to talk about Jeff Beck Wired for an hour. Today we're going to talk about Brian Eno for an hour. Today we're going to talk about Sly and the Family. These are literally the rooms that he's done in the last 2 weeks. And you get on there and people turn you on to music. A lot of professional people there, movie business people. There's a lot of, label people that are kind of annoying, but I get on there and fight with them, Hey, your record label sucks. No, you suck. That type of thing. But whatever you want to talk about, like you walk, I walk. So I got to walk 10,000 steps a day for my plan that I'm on. I just turn this on and I listen. I get in rooms. Sometimes I talk about music. Sometimes I argue. So you guys, Clubhouse, if you want an invite, I can get you an invite. It's by invitation only. That's how special it is. That's why they're in beta. Once they get out of beta, they'll open it up to everybody. But
I've done a bunch of, I have a VR headset and there's a movie theater experience that is bizarrely realistic.
Yeah.
And that's still in beta. Yeah. Dude, you feel like you're in a movie theater. It's crazy.
There's a room a guy who's really into VR. Maybe you know him. What the hell's his name? But his real business is VR. But then he has this music industry. He's got a YouTube channel and a Clubhouse room, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, yeah. I'm like getting turned on to so much new music based on these discussions. And this one guy will send me a Spotify list every day. It's like, okay, our room was on for an hour and all these people talked about all these cool bands. I'm going to put them all on a Spotify playlist for you. That's cool. And then I meet musicians. Some people just get on there and play. Guys on there playing the saxophone. He's like, yeah, I used to play with Dizzy Gillespie. I used to play with Lou Donaldson. I'm like, oh, you want to come on my channel? Sure. So I'm going to have this guy on my channel.
Awesome.
Soon. I won't mention his name yet. So I'm a big fan of this thing called Clubhouse, and it's taken away from my YouTube watching. But when I'm out walking an hour a day, do you listen to anything? Podcasts?
I listen. If you ever listen to Gilbert Gottfried's amazing Colossal podcast, is really good. It's not him being annoying. They have really good guests, and that's sort of. I listen to. No one realizes if you have a library card, you get free. You can check out audiobooks and stuff like that. So, I want to get that. The Al Schmidt just passed away, and people are touting the book he wrote. So I'm waiting to get that. Yeah,
I got to drop a Hollywood thing here. Here I go. Are you ready? I was at sort of a little book signing / party for him at the Capitol building, November of 2018. It was really the Hi-Fi Geek group put this thing together. Different recording engineers, but he was the main guy there and he was signing his book, and it was a cool event that only us LA people can experience. So I took my son and we took our picture with all the little cool pictures in the lobby, Paul McCartney and Frank Sinatra. So I got to hang out with Al Schmidt.
From what I gather, he was a very personable guy. Is that true?
Yeah. He spoke on this panel, and I don't know if they ended up doing a good YouTube video. They said they would, and I don't know if they put it up yet.
He didn't look his age. He looked younger.
I'm surprised he passed away because he seemed like a healthy,
he's 91, right?
That old? So he was 87 or something, or 89 when we hung out. So yeah, he's a monster. Besides your Rudy Van Gelder, he's like in that top 2 or 3 or 4 all-time recording guys. That's my Al Schmidt story.
It was a good one. You could edit that out of this video and have a nice video that kind of takes off.
That's what I need to do with all these long interviews. Like, who wants to watch? Hey, let's spend an hour and a half with Greg and Rob from The Waxed, because we're hitting an hour and a half soon. So we should edit out the good parts. And it could be like,
probably have 3 minutes of usable content from this video.
Yeah.
Stream.
So there was something else I wanted to ask you, but I don't know if you had more questions for me.
I have one thing I want to kind of just say. Well, first of all, I should thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. So that being said,
I thought you're welcome. I want to promote your channel a little bit, not too much, but a little bit.
And one thing I wanted to say too, and I had discussions on Instagram with another guy. I went to a record store and they had a bunch of 70s Blue Notes sealed with a hole punch in it for sale. And it's like a guy goes, you should grab them, because there's a big discussion now. And I actually, my last video is I opened a 34-year-old album. And I also kicked myself because I bought the Squeeze Babylon and On.
Yeah.
I bought it sealed, which is a great album. I like it. And then I had bought a Blue Note Liberty era 69 of Jimmy Smith's greatest hits.
Oh yeah, I saw that one too.
I bought it for $20 sealed, and I kicked myself for not doing a video opening it. But there's a big kind of thing. I don't know if it's huge, but people are discussing, why do you keep your albums sealed? And if you open them, there's 2 worlds of thought that they're not playable. There's something wrong with them. Maybe something happened to them in the years they were in the package. Or in my case, when I opened the Squeeze, beautiful, brand new, fresh as a baby's bottom. So maybe that was a bad reference.
Is that your question? Do I keep them open or sealed or not sealed?
Yeah, that's sort of something that's... So when I was in my local record store here on the west side, they had all these things. And the one I didn't buy, it was a Lee Morgan double album that was shelved and came out in the 70s. This was when it came out, but it was $60.
House or something?
Huh?
It wasn't Live at the Lighthouse?
No, that's coming out. Aren't they putting that on a set's coming out of 8 albums? No, this was not a live album. It was a shelf set. It was a double album. And there were a whole punch in all these Blue Notes, and there's still some there. There was a Sonny Clark strutting. But I thought to myself, this is where I kind of label myself as a vinyl collector. I don't care about getting an original pressing. I don't care about getting a second pressing. I care about getting a clean, enjoyable album that plays nice. So the Sonny Clark's coming out. They're reissuing it in the summertime as part of the Blue Note Classics. That is for 20-something bucks. I'm a CAB. I don't want to tell you what it stands for.
Not a CAJ?
CAB, a cheap.
I'm going with CAJ.
A cheap person. So for 20-something bucks, it's like all these classics. My Hank Mobley has 2 sonic bleeps in it. I've returned it once, but it's fine, I guess. But that's what I care about. I care about buying a version that I can enjoy listening to, that doesn't sound like I'm stepping on bubble wrap listening to it. So I understand the collectability of getting these versions, these pristine versions, but I can buy 5 albums for what you're paying for it. And I just ordered Peter Gabriel's Soul So remastered. It'll be brand new and it'll sound nice. That's my attitude. So that's my soapbox.
I'm
So,
with you, and I'm even cheaper because I don't mind if it's a really good deal. I'll buy
no,
a $5 album and it is scratched, and then I'll say, well, do I care about it enough to upgrade? Maybe, maybe not. So a lot of my records are beat up, scratched,
well,
warped.
there's a difference between scratch and it plays and you can listen. It's just a hairline kind of thing. But I paid $60 for my Sonny Rollins The Bridge because it was something I really wanted, and I wanted.
Mhm.
Actually went to Amoeba and bought a version that was not labeled properly. I asked them to help me what version this was. I should have known it was $16. It was printed in a mafia back room by the mob. I got it home, a brand new album, and it was warped.
Are you
Yeah,
referring to one of these Euro trash
yeah.
presses that I don't like?
I thought it would sound fine, and I go, "This is stupid. I'm willing to take my hard-earned $60 to get the version I want."
So your
But
reference
yeah.
to organized crime is
Mhm.
not really an exaggeration.
That's why I said it.
So I don't know if everyone knows that these Euro, I call them Euro trash records that are not authorized. They're not from anything masters. They're from CDs.
Yeah.
There's no funds being sent to any rights holders in America. And the creators of these records have been linked to nefarious characters. So I'm very anti that whole thing. But
Yeah.
why aren't the U.S. record companies releasing this stuff? Like, there's like no Chet Baker that you can get that's not, either
Well, yeah, I mean,
fortune or
money talks, BS walks. You'll see it's already happening because you asked me how I got that copy of the Hassan album. I have a friend who got me it, and I'll be doing videos where I'm getting albums so I can give my take on them.
Mhm.
But getting back to it is you're already seeing it where what is Music Matters going to do now? What do they have access to? They're not going to have access to much because the record companies now see the value of doing this in house, and stuff will be coming out. It's craft. I have a issue. I have a bee in my bonnet about craft.
Keep it on your head. Don't.
Well, I bought all those. I bought the Chet Bakers,
Mhm.
and they were dirty. The Chet was just like it was pressed in a sawmill, and it wasn't sounding right. And I tried to reach out to Kraft. By the way, the Kraft that you buy stuff from is not Kraft. It's a company they hire to sell their stuff. So when I reached out to them, they go, "We can't help you unless you bought it from us."
Now I'm really confused. You don't have to explain it. But
Yeah.
one is marketing and one is a real.
They're a what do you call it? A service, whatever. But
white labeler.
But again, I'm a big fan of Nickel Creek. Do you know Nickel Creek? Maybe I'll help you out.
Not Nickelback. Nickel Creek with the Alison Krauss.
Yeah, no, now stonewashed jeans.
Talking about Alison Krauss, right?
Yeah, Nickel Creek. So Kraft reissued.
She's an angel. She has an angel voice.
Yeah, well, she produced their first album. So Kraft reissued their first 3 albums in remastered 45 versions.
Mhm.
Those are genius. Sound awesome. Get them. I have all 3 of them. So Kraft is seeing the value in putting these out and people buying them. So do you think they're going to license off any of the prestige and all that other stuff? No.
But if the companies themselves say, well, we're not going to press it ourselves and we're not going to license it, and then the Europeans come in and say, we can press it for free.
That's not happening. I mean, here, by the way, I was talking to my friend. I have an idea for a heist movie, or maybe just a real heist. Me and you, we drive out to Camarillo and we break into the RTI building and just take everything that they have sitting there pressed that hasn't been released yet.
Do you have a big pickup truck?
Giveaway? Huh?
Do you have a big pickup truck? Because I don't see you as a big pickup truck guy.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. There are these places called U-Haul.
Yeah.
Like a good Jewish guy, there's what you know how to do?
Rent.
No, make reservations.
Oh, yeah. I had a
You had
Jewish.
a question. You said you had one more question for me.
It's kind of an observation
Okay.
because you've done something on your channel that we've adopted here at our family. So you've influenced.
Wow.
It has to do with mental health.
Yeah.
And between all my therapists and medications and anxiety and neurosis,
Yeah.
my wife and I can just say, where are you? And I can say, I'm up
Yeah,
here.
I'm tweaked up. Do you like that? I thought that was funny when I did it.
I use that now because I'm supposed to do a breathing exercise. Not all I
Yeah.
have to do is listen to Bill Evans now.
Actually, I can
I
tell you,
don't have Bill Evans handy though. I might just have to go back to my breathing.
not to be labeled an LA person, but I a couple of years ago started doing transcendental meditation. That helps a lot. But
I do regular that's not transcendental. I don't know the difference, but they're both good.
without going big into it, there's a difference. But it works for me. I'm not a big believer in talking to people about my problems. I'm not a big believer in taking a pill. This works for me. But the soothing power that listen, I'm new to jazz collecting. I have not lived under a rock. I've heard of all these famous musicians before. But just didn't collect their music and know a lot. But Yusef Lateef, I did not know about. And the whole debacle of the Craft One Step of his, when you get the OGC I bought for $15. And as far as I know, a lot of these OGCs were analog remastered in the late 80s. It sounds beautiful. In fact, one of my best sounding albums is the Sonny Rollins OGC. I was playing it. It is crazy. Sounds awesome. I paid $15 brand new for it. So getting back to it is that Eastern Sounds is an album you can put on. You're tweaked out of frame for people that haven't watched my video, which you should. No, you're out of frame. You're tweaked up here. And when you're listening to it,
you come down here, and then you're
out of frame. You're down here.
Now the movie. We can talk about meditation. Oh, have you seen the Seinfeld David Lynch Foundation YouTube video?
I've seen a bunch of them. Yeah, I know.
He like is the MC and he talks about meditation.
Yeah.
For someone who's never heard of meditation, I say watch this video if you think Jerry Seinfeld's funny because he makes so many observations about what it did for him.
Yeah,
which I think is all great stuff.
Well, I'll tell you one from my professional experiences because I've dealt with tons of famous people,
many of whom are assholes.
There you go. And comedians are generally the biggest ones. To be funny, to be professionally funny, you have to be an angry person.
I'm angry.
Very good. Well, I'm my default setting is
somewhere up here.
Yeah, you're a schmuck. That's my default setting, schmuck. So, is it okay to say schmuck?
My wife refers to me by how I'm seen driving around town, which is a BMW jerk.
I'm a firm believer on people who drive BMWs don't have a good grasp of how to drive BMW.
I think I'm doing fine. I get in front of people and,
Maybe I should follow you around video you driving and you'll go, who's that crazy person driving? Oh, it's me.
And I don't think I'm that bad because I get pissed off by other people in BMWs who are much worse than me. And I think they're nuts. So I'm a couple steps down.
Let's not fall to the trap of talking about life in Los Angeles and driving and angry people.
Yeah. The good thing about this year is we didn't have to drive anywhere.
Oh,
no mileage on our cars. I'm working from home. My son's college is from home. We're all at home.
Where does your son go to college?
Cal Lutheran out in Thousand Oaks.
I know Cal Lutheran very well. Yeah. I know that place very well because of my business, what I did for a living. I was always in Thousand Oaks. It's right there. And that's basically where
Rams
Ram, no, the Rams
played there.
Yeah, played that.
Rams practice on his football field.
My problem with schools like that is everyone knows your business. Those small schools. Is that what your son complains about? Everyone knows your business at small
He's been
schools.
on school doing this Zoom calls for the last year and a half.
Whatever year he is if he's been there a couple years before the pandemic?
I don't think so, because he's a commuter. He doesn't live there. He lives here, and he drives 20 miles each way. So maybe his experience is a little different.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing about small schools. There are many good things. Anyway, this is not
humidity.
But did you go to school in LA?
Huh?
Did you go to school in LA or DC?
I went to a great school. I had the best college experience ever. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. So big city school, great experience.
Don't know it, but it sounds great. You had a better experience. So I got to the tweak thing. We got to bingo. The bingo thing is you have to have cards where each person has a different card. So who's going to commit to doing that?
No, well, it's more, maybe it could be pared down that you have to take pictures. I don't want people to buy a Jim Neighbors album. I wouldn't wish that on my biggest enemy.
I probably have some. I have all kinds of really bizarre.
Yeah, I don't get the methodology. Obviously, all the good albums people are keeping. The ones that they're donating are the trash of 30 or 40 years ago. I don't know listen, Jim Neighbors as Gomer Pyle, classic. He even did a Saturday morning show, the Far Out Saucer. I'm not knocking Jim Neighbors.
Didn't watch that one.
The fact when he opened his mouth, he had this voice that people said, if that guy puts out an album, I'm buying it. That's someone I don't want anywhere near me or my family.
It's a little harsh.
Is it harsh?
But I get it. What if I love Jim Neighbors?
Well,
I probably have a Christmas album. That's probably it.
Listen, the greatest thing about eating a Big Mac is after you eat it, it's gone. Those Jim Neighbors albums do not disappear or disintegrate.
Well, a lot of the albums that end up in the Goodwill are because someone is deceased. Right?
Yep.
And I see these people on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist every day. Mom died and she has 40 records. They're old, so they're worth $1,000, right? And I feel so bad for those people. I schlep them to the record store. Please leave my store. They're worth nothing. And Mom loved Jim Neighbors. I feel bad for those people.
Blame Mom. Well, I have a different take on. Here's another take. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the average tenancy in LA County is?
Tenancy is in duration?
Yes. Do you know what the average is?
How long people stay in their homes?
In their renting apartments. And stuff like that.
You guys have rent control, so you guys have.
Oh, well, that's different. I heard it's like 2.5 months. Okay.
Oh, because of the.
We're in over 20 million people from Ventura down to Orange County.
They move around a lot.
Move around, so people leave their crap behind, and the landlord just wants an empty apartment, and they'll take the write-off and dump it in Goodwill and take the receipt. That's when you find good stuff. I believe that's how that got there. That's my take.
I got a whole jazz collection at the Salvation Army. I assumed that an older jazz gentleman died and his wife said, I don't know what to do with this. That's where I got my original Blue Note Herbie Hancock Imperial Isles original.
Good condition?
Yeah. And a couple of Lester Youngs, and I think I got about 15 records that day, the Salvation Army. And that was like a whole vein of, okay, this is obviously a collection.
Right.
Did I do a video on that? Whenever I do these Goodwill veins of awesomeness, I make videos. So I got 5 or 6 videos of 10 or 20 Goodwill records, guys. And they look at me like, one guy said, you're lying. I'm like, this is LA.
That's when I leave the price. Because if you watch my videos, I have 2 collections like that I found, but they're not. My dream is to walk in and find a jazz collection or a MoFi collection. That's usually because I did almost find a MoFi collection. I did find 8 albums that had MoFi sleeves, and they were beautiful,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But my big video that I wish had more views is I found someone wheeled out 50 albums, and I took 33 of them. And you can see my video, and some are great, stuff. And then I found someone's collection, and I have mint Buffalo Springfield, mint, bunch of mint album, Jim Croce, that's worth money. But I feel it's an album you have to have in your collection, photographs and postcards or whatever it's called.
We have that one.
Yeah.
I have 2 or 3 of those Goodwill experiences. One, I was literally standing there, and a guy walks in. I can hear him. He says, "You guys take records?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm just gonna hang out here for a while." And out of 50 records, I took home, half of them. It's all classic rock. It wasn't jazz. It was like Dire Straits and Bob Dylan and that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
And then I have the same Goodwill, 16 discs from Mosaic. Mosaic.
Yeah, no, that's those are good stuff.
Those are CD though.
Oh,
Still.
well, throw them in the trash.
Yeah.
Rip them first.
Hank Mobley and Grant Green and.
Hold on, I'm listening to you and hearing you. I'm first.
Okay, I'm talking, guys, and we're here with the Waxed coming from Santa Monica, California, and he's left to take some sort of personal break.
No,
going
I'm
to show us a surprise. It's going to be big, guys. This is worth waiting an hour and 40 minutes for, guys. So hang on to your seats. This is going to be mind blowing. You guys,
it's going to be such a letdown, but.
It's not Jim Neighbors, is it?
No, it's not. Here's one I cannot value because I had to enter it into Discogs, which is the most frustrating experience when you have an album that Discogs doesn't have it entered.
Like, how come nobody did it for me?
I have a bunch of CDs. This is like a one-off. Do you know who this person is?
I'm trying to look. I'm going to click the button so you blow up a little bit. So quit moving it around. It's not Roseanne Carter Cash, is it? It's not. Is her name down there?
Yeah.
It's not Alison Krauss, is it?
So no, I don't want you to keep.
It's not a Judy or a Julie or a.
So her name is Siv Sendering. She's passed away, but a very famous poet. This is a CD of her reading her poetry. It has no value. I don't know what it's valued, but I know it's a one-off because she did it herself. So how do you I have a bunch of stuff just like it, like this person, Erin Hill. I had to enter this into Discogs. It was she selfed, put this out. And I know she selfed it, but she put it out herself. And here's another one. I know this guy is famous, Paige Kavanaugh.
Yeah, he's well known.
Yeah, but this was put out by him. He's passed away, but it's sealed. I found that. And so it's funny that you find these things and how do I value it? It's sealed.
You need to value it, or do you just need to enjoy it?
Well, I have this. And I want to crack this open because this is
Charles Mingus. Love Mingus.
Yeah, it's a concert he did. This came out 20 years ago. It is sealed beautifully mint. I haven't cracked it open yet. But it's a concert he did. Eric Dolphy.
The great concert.
Yeah.
A well-known concert.
Yes. But it's a double CD set.
I want to hear that.
$2. I say $2. So
I'm gonna grab what I got at the Goodwill today, which is not this pile, but I was at a Blue Note and OJC feeding frenzy. These all have Goodwill stickers. You see that?
Yes.
West Montgomery. There was a lot of Jimmy Smith. There was about 20 or 30 discs coming out on the shelf.
I have to come out to your store.
And me and this other dude we were politely fighting over it. We were both trying to occupy the same shelf at the same time. The minute that person was putting them on the shelf, he and I were both cramming our faces in there. But we were we were polite to each other. Like, do you want this one? No, thank
We're in
you.
social distancing.
This was way before. This was about 6 months before the pandemic.
Oh,
But
I have a good way to get rid of him. You say, I believe this guy is shoplifting. You say it very loud.
let me grab a couple things. Now you have to entertain people for 30 seconds.
Entertain. I can do magic tricks like that thing where you go, you know, like that. Does that help you guys?
Are you entertaining?
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. Humming music. Do we have music I could play? Let me see some.
Yeah, song or something. I'm back.
Okay.
So you showed some things that people created themselves.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Santa Monica who's more of a comedy writer and playwright, but he did all three of these himself. Do you know Steve Steve Steich?
Not off the top of my head, no.
He's a comedy writer, TV writer, playwright. Kramer versus Kramer, a pop oratorio. Interesting stuff. You're not going to find it on Discogs, but he gives these to me. Okay, that wasn't the Goodwill. Today's Goodwill, I don't know this record, Nirvana. Live from the muddy banks of Wishkah.
Is it not put out by the record company, or is it a boot?
Official.
But
it's official. It's Geffen Records. 17 songs live. Very cool. My son is very into grunge.
I just bought the their album because it's an audiophile version that people say is the Bernie Grumman remastered plates that Org Music put out, and that's the one that Geffen uses to make the album now. And
the Teen Spirit,
it's $22.
That's the
yeah.
It smells like.
Entertain the people, Greg.
Got that somewhere. So guys,
right here.
I
bought this for $22, and it's pressed at Pally.
I might have that same one because I think my son got that for me for birthday or something in the last 5 or 6 years.
For 20, see, here's the funny thing. For $22, I don't know why everyone doesn't go rush out and buy this. Crazy.
I got to go buy that right now.
Like, you know, there's a guy, I forget his name. Is he the University of something? I've been watching videos. He's in Michigan. He's great. So he's been doing these videos where he talks about audiophile quality albums that are not audiophile albums. And now I have a list every time I go somewhere of Roxy Music Avalon and John Hyatt. These albums,
like cheap records that sound great type thing.
Yeah, like they're like the hot mix of Led Zeppelin to the Bob Ludwig.
That ain't cheap though.
Yeah, stuff like that, and that's
Michigan.
That's my list now of when I go.
Steve Carlson, are you?
Am I what?
You're not talking about Steve Carlson, are you?
I don't. Well, I don't know his real name. I just know he's
Steve Carlson goes by Steve Carlson, but I thought he was in Michigan. No, maybe he's in.
Steve Carlson sounds like that guy everyone knows. Well, you know Steve Carlson.
Yeah, he's on the he's in the Midwest. His house was destroyed in the flood last year.
Oh no. Oh, that's he does videos with people. I think he was on the Four Corners with Mazzy and
Mazzy, the German guy,
Michael Love, who's becoming a rock star now.
Classical guy.
Michael 45 RPM is becoming a rock star.
A German.
Yeah, tomorrow he's doing that big audio analog productions video they're doing about the Miles Davis tomorrow. He's on it.
Yeah, I'm not as excited about $100 anything.
Well, I ordered it. I did.
You just said you weren't going to do that, and now you're doing it.
No, I didn't say it wasn't going to. Okay, here's how I'm cheap. Okay, let me teach you something. If you ordered the album from Acoustic Sounds, just print it out. Their which they normally give you free shipping over $50. Then they give you express FedEx over $100. They were charging shipping on the Miles Davis. They charge you shipping on pre-orders. That's crazy. Then they're in Kansas.
In the city,
they charge sales tax. Well, I canceled my order because it came up to $130. I ordered it from the In-Groove in Phoenix. Free shipping and no sales tax. So I'm okay with paying the $100 for an album which I actually have two versions of it anyway. I have the Mo 545 and I have the Mono 2013 remastered, which is beautiful. But
I have 3 or 4 copies. I have the MoFi CD, Goodwill, $2. Just saying.
well, you
But
know,
what MoFi CD mean anyway? I don't even know.
certificate of deposit.
Yes.
Oh, but yes. Now we're starting. We're talking about stuff we should have been talking about an hour and a half ago.
We could cut this into probably 4 videos and see if any of them get any views. One more Goodwill story today. Okay, a unique record that doesn't exist anywhere in the planet. I have the only copy. It's a CD, but it is signed by the artist. What the hell is it? It's in Russian.
You know what? When your son's talking about things, you should have a little angel and devil on your shoulder. Do not buy this.
I looked the guy up on YouTube. He's a modern Russian composer.
Yes.
He signed it to somebody.
Yeah, which has no value, by the way.
He made it himself.
The thing I'm learning about autographs.
I don't even know if it's the right record.
Did you see when I went to the estate sale? My friend took my picture of me holding an autograph photo of Herbie Hancock. For my friend taking me, I said, "You buy it." He bought it for $40. It's not. It doesn't. He didn't sign it to someone, so it has value. I didn't buy that. I should have just not bought the albums and bought that. But
I discussed that picture with my family, and someone in my family said, "Who would want that in their house?" And I said,
yeah, you know, there is a creepy nature going to these estate sales.
Somebody
rummaging through someone's house after they passed away. You know, I felt I didn't feel the greatest being in there. You know,
I've been to a few. I've been to quite a few, and the people who run those things get kind of on my nerves sometimes. You know, but anyway, they're trying to make a living. You know, it ain't easy selling someone's.
I had nothing against people running it. I had everything against the guy who bought everything when I got there. And then the guy running it actually said, yeah, when we opened, we got rid of 500 albums. And then I'm thinking, those bastards paid $2 for a Miles Davis album who got there early.
That's upsetting. I know.
Yeah. It was a great feeling. I'm going to talk. If you're using my tweak thing, I'm referring to that as Greg guilt.
The Greg guilt explain the Greg guilt though.
The Greg guilt is this. The grass is always greener on the other side of the septic tank kind of thing.
Yes.
You're not happy that you got those 5 blue notes or those 15 blue notes. Because you're thinking about the guy who got the other 10 blue notes and left those behind.
Exactly. That is how I live every day, and that's how my wife and my 2 therapists tell me not to live. So,
you know what I call that? It's the food court mentality. Do you know what the food court mentality is?
Why do I want to eat Baja Fresh?
No.
I could have had.
Sort of. It's more of like someone following you with a trombone. You go to the food court, you spend way too much time deciding what you're going to get. You get that, you sit down, and 3 bites into it, you hear right behind you, wah, wah, wah. Man, I should have got that other thing.
Yeah.
Food court mentality.
The regret. I live in regret every day. And I'm being told not to by many people who seem to have their stuff together. So,
you know what? Those people do not have their stuff together, by the way. That's how I see it.
No, I know. Some of them will be listening. But the VC is causing a lot of that. Are you finding watching these videos
I
is
do find
and money?
If I'm inebriated watching VC videos, chances are I will order something that I should not be ordering.
I've done that, and I stopped inebriating myself in the last few months. But some of these records, I'm like, this person whose opinion I respect somewhat said it's a good album. I'm watching them with one window on my computer, and I'm buying it on another window simultaneously on the computer. I've done that many times.
Well, here's something I practice, okay? And maybe this will help you. I'm a big cart stalker.
Yes.
So my Amazon cart is filled with things I did not purchase. And the great thing about Amazon, do you know a site called Camel?
No.
Okay.
Camel.
So the tricky thing that Amazon does is they give every item their own code. They do not publish the UPC of the item.
Really?
So you copy, I forget what Amazon calls their code, BDN or something like that. You go to Camel, and you paste that code in and search it, and it will tell you the history of what that item sold for on Amazon. Now you have a point of reference on the cheapest price it possibly could be, and you can sit there and go, I will put it in my cart. And every morning when I open Amazon and look at my cart, it'll tell you if an item's price decreased or increased. And if it's close to that price point that you believe you should pay, you know it's the cheapest it'll be usually on Amazon.
I didn't know Amazon prices could fluctuate in cart.
Amazon prices fluctuate by the minute. So the better way to look at Amazon is their whole business model is based on algorithm, sort of like buying airline tickets or hotel rooms.
I've heard the story with airline tickets. I haven't heard it with Amazon.
Items on Amazon change by the minute because also a lot of the availability, the items are from, outside people. It's not Amazon selling them. They're affiliates,
resellers.
And I'm a big, here's my conspiracy theory. I believe a huge affiliate, it's probably factual. 2 huge affiliates for Amazon are Best Buy and Target. So they affiliate with Amazon. So Target is a great place to stock your cart too, because 2 or 3 or 4 times a year, Target does those buy 2, get 1 free for entertainment media, mainly albums. So back in January or February, Amazon had a buy 2, get 1 free. So I acquired 20 albums, mostly Tone Poets and classics, where I got $400 worth of albums for a little over $200 or $250 because I took advantage of that sale, and I'm still reaping the benefits of it because I bought a lot of pre-order albums. So this week I should be getting my new Dexter Gordon Tone Poet, and then I'm getting the Gil Evans. So, and then here's another thing too.
You're going on the Jewish Shopping Hall of Fame,
right? Here, I'm going to win points, and this is the video where I'm shut up. You're ruining it for everybody. The whole business model of Amazon and Target is volume and not profit on an item. So they typically will sell their Tone Poets for $7 or $8 cheaper. And the all those Verve AP co things, those are cheaper. So right now you can go get Tone Poets on Target for $27 that sell for $35. But they don't always have everything in stock. But right now I recommend pre-ordering the analog productions of those new Impulse co thing they're doing. They have two of those up for pre-order, the Sonny Rollins on Impulse and please hit me in the head. What's the 2 first ones coming out?
Sonny Rollins or Coltrane or what?
No, the Coltrane's coming later in the year. The 2 ones that are coming out, you can pre-order those. And they also have the Kraft Bill Evans concert that's coming out at the end of June. You can pre-order that for $27. That lists for $35.
Well, the opposite side of that coin, the worst place to buy a Blue Note record from, you probably can guess, is from the Blue Note store.
Well, I have a story for that. Do you want me to?
Let's see whose story is worse.
Well, it's not a worse story. It's a bad business practice story.
Yeah, mine. I've had multiple bad experiences with them, even though I got a couple bucks off and a free shipping.
Well, so back in a month ago, they did a weekend 30% off sale, which is basically what Target and Amazon sell the Blue Note stuff for, already that off. But the thing about it is they had the titles that weren't available anymore on Target. Or so I got a Lee Morgan Cornbread Tone Poet, and the one that's really hard to get is Art Blake is a not even the 80 Art Blakey
Monin.
No, Indestructible, which people say is better than Monin. And
I have the old Indestructible.
Yeah, well, what's his face? Mike from the End Groove. It's in his top 100 analog albums you should own. Indestructible. You can't find that anywhere. And they had it. So I ordered those three and then the Grant Green Tone Poet. I forget which one. So Blue Note's default is some of your albums aren't available. When they are all available, we'll mail them to you. Well, it's been a month and a half, and I reached out to Blue Note and said, "Hey," and they go, "Well, the Grant Green is not being pressed yet, so we're waiting on that." I go, "Well, you have the other two, just mail them to me." So I had to like push them to go, "Okay, we'll mail them to you," and they did.
Well, I had that same experience.
Yeah,
because they had the end of summer sale, which was that September 23rd or something. Loaded up my cart, free shipping, hit buy. 3 or 4 weeks later, I said, you know what? They haven't even given me a confirmation. Oh, well, one of them's not available. Okay. A couple more weeks go by. Well, maybe you should send the ones that are available. And they wouldn't have done that had you not bugged them.
No.
So I think it was 78 days from hit the button to all the records were in my house. 78 days, 3 months. I got a little discount. I got free shipping. I could have gone to Amazon. And this is the Universal Music Group. This is not Blue Note's fault. This is a company.
Are you sure about that? Like I said about Kraft as part of the Universal Music Group, but the people that run their website are not Kraft. It's another company. So it's their practice.
But I think a lot of, if you look at the addresses from these Blue Note people, they don't say Blue Note, do they? Don't they say?
No, my Blue Note were all shipped from the Midwest, same as the Kraft.
Yeah.
Here's the trick, actually. The weird thing is the Kraft comes from a state that doesn't have to pay California sales tax. So I didn't get my Kraft had this really cruel what was it? I don't know if it was April Fool's or something. No, Easter. They had this cool thing where they had Easter eggs all over their website. If you're one of the first 10 people to find the egg and they gave you a code, you got 30% off. So I went and bought a bunch of those OGC Prestige titles and one of the Nickel Creeks. It was a great little gimmick they did. I found the Easter egg.
Fascinating.
Yes.
This is a first for the Vinyl Rundown.
What?
It held my attention for 2 hours.
Yeah, maybe we should end. Does that mean, is it prestige to me or to me? Am I interesting?
You should take the prestige and run with it and tell everybody that you were the first 2-hour guest on anybody's channel. No commercial interruptions, 2 hours straight yakking, which is amazing.
Well, I'm glad. I could talk for hours. So let's.
We could do it again in smaller portions. We could do 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here.
I'm sorry that I told you. Let's just wing it. Maybe we should have scripted it. So my fault.
No, there's no regrets. Remember, you're the one telling me to not.
You know what you can thank? You can thank coffee. It is the fuel that makes me not shut up.
I did the coffee too. I always do the coffee right before. I run around like a maniac. Coffee, lighting, glasses, That's what you were saying. Where's the link? And I was running around for a half hour trying to do all these little things because the prep work.
And
'Cause I don't have a staff. I don't have a PA. I don't have an assistant
just
producer.
be more natural about it. Just sit in front of the computer and hit play.
And then I'm yelling, "Can somebody get me my pen? Can somebody get me a paper?"
This is pleasure. This is fun. This is like when my dad was my age, he was playing softball. This is my softball. You know?
I was definitely not playing softball. Folks, if you're still hanging on, thank you for hanging on for 2 hours. You've been on with Rob from The Waxed. I didn't even get to ask him if he was waxed and where he was waxed. We'll leave that for next time.
Well, I did have some money in my life, and electrolysis was used. Like any middle-aged Jewish man, we're fur-bearing mammals.
Some furrier than others. We grow some places, we lose other places.
That's why I wear hats.
I haven't found a hat that I want to wear indoors, but I'll work on that. But
can I leave with the reason I look this way is because I believe it's the easiest for a police sketch artist to duplicate what I look like. Yeah, he was wearing a black hat, glasses, he had a goatee.
Black.
Yeah, boom. Easy to draw.
Like everything.
Yeah.
This is my son's hat. I'm not supposed to touch it. Okay, guys. We've been on with Rob for 2 hours. Thank you, Rob. We look forward to your videos.
Greg, I really appreciate it. Thank you for being very hospitable.
Welcome. Subscribe to The Waxed. Subscribe to Greg at the Vinyl Rundown. And we have to sign off, guys, because we have to get on with our lives. So
yes,
we're signing off.